Sometimes I find it hard to relate to the people in the Bible when I try to put myself in their shoes to figure out what they're feeling. I have thought a lot about Jacob wrestling with God and wonder, what was he truly wrestling with? He had made full circle and was back to the place he feared, confronting Esau. Jacob was soon to face his brother, and he feared his wrath for stealing Esau's blessing. He prayed for God to protect him, and he reminded God of the promises he made to Jacob. He praised God's steadfast love, his faithfulness, and his goodness, and he thanked God because he was unworthy. Do you think Jacob wrestled with where God had brought him back to? Or do you think he wrestled with his faith in feeling worthy enough to step into the role God had for him? There have been times I have struggled with my faith and self-worth. Many times I have questioned something over and over because I just couldn't trust where God had placed me and what God wanted me to do. Like Jacob, I have wrestled. And like Jacob, I won't give up until I have deliverance. I know God's love is steadfast. He is faithful, merciful, gracious, slow to anger, and he wants good for me. So why is it hard for us to step into that place and receive that place and know that we are worthy and trust? I think it is also similar to Jacob. Right before he met his brother, he came to a place called Mahamim, which means two camps. He saw angels, and he had split his camp into two camps. He did this thinking, if Esau comes and attacks my camp, at least one part of my camp will be safe. He can only attack one side, so I can keep one side safe. So it's kind of like, well, gosh, which side are you hoping he's going to keep safe? And which side are you hoping he's going to attack? But in that moment, he saw an angel. And really, he should have had courage to know his camp was going to be protected no matter what. Both of them. But I think it's like Jacob, that when we have to step into a new place and we come from an old place, we have two camps. Sometimes we're dancing and wrestling between these two camps of what the old was and what the new is. And finding a place of acceptance in the new place because we're so used to the old place. So we kind of just accept the way it is, or we get comfortable there. And when it's time to change, it's hard to find that place of comfort and even maybe your identity in that new place, because it may be different from the old place. And it's a wrestle. It's a wrestle with your faith. It's a wrestle with figuring out how to reconcile your two camps into one and not have two camps. Though I don't think it was wrong that Jacob did that, but he did display fear. He was fearful of what could come, and he was just being protective. And I think God knew his heart, and God was going to protect him. But I also think that God knew he needed to wrestle in that place, and he needed to understand what was happening, what he was stepping into, how important it was to step into that place of being Jacob and coming into Israel, and understanding who he was and receiving that identity as Israel, as the children of God. And trusting, having faith, knowing God is always steadfast. He is always faithful, and he's always fighting, and what he does is always for our good. So I go back to that. I know God's love is steadfast. I know he is faithful. I know he's merciful and gracious, and he's slow to anger, and he wants good for me. But even in these places of wrestle, God knows our heart. And he's there wrestling with us, helping us see where we need to accept our worth, find our value, and step into those places, whether it's community, jobs, new positions, whatever it may be. There's always an old and coming into the new. And those places sometimes can be hard, and we wrestle. And if you are in that place at this moment, allow me to pray for you. And then I hope I have something that can challenge you if you find yourself in these moments again, to maybe get yourself out of them and know you are worthy. Father, thank you for your love, mercy, and grace. So many times I have wrestled with where I am and what I am doing. My trust wavers, and I question the abilities you placed in me. Abba, please silence my flesh, still the quiver I feel, and anoint me with peace for this journey. Replace all the fear with courage, and overwhelm my heart with your presence, your love. Lord, I lift all my brothers and sisters up to you and ask you to fill them with your presence. Fill them with your love. Place a boldness inside each of them to trust where you have placed them. Raise their faith in the abilities that you have given each of them. Bless us today by bringing us face to face with you, and deliver us. In Yeshua's name I pray. Amen. So if you find yourself in this place of wrestle, this is what I would like you to reflect back on. What are you wrestling with? Ask yourself that question. Is God trying to help you overcome a cycle of mistrust and build your courage to trust what He is doing? How is He using you to help fulfill something bigger than what you perceive? Stop wrestling and just let God fill you each day with His presence, building a trusting relationship with Him.